Hello, welcome to Fisher from Scratch. My name is Briley, and on today's video we're going to be doing a spring/summer garden tour video to show you guys everything we're growing in our garden this year. Come along, check it out. Okay, so in our garden we're growing so many tomato plants. I really enjoy canning and stuff like that and preserving for the next year. To be honest, we still have some food that I canned up last year. Most is pasta sauce and pizza sauce. So I did a lot of tomatoes this year, as you can see. I did 41 plants. Originally planted 42, but one ended up dying. I plan on doing ketchup and hot sauce and pasta sauce, pizza sauce. Something I didn't do last year was barbecue sauce, but we eat so much barbecue sauce that I think I'm gonna try to do that this year too. Now, to be completely honest, I don't remember the varieties I did, but I do know that I did 2 slicing like you would use for sandwiches slash canning varieties, so they're less juicy in the middle and more meat. So I also did a lot of cucumbers. All of our cucumbers are doing super good. So for some reason, the ones that are on the right-hand side of our trellis are doing way better than the ones on our left side. The only thing that we can think of is last year, this right garden bed right here was our garden for last year. So we did a much bigger garden this year than we did last year. But I ended up growing 25 cucumber plants. So I have on this first hoop here, I have our slicing cucumbers that we would use for salads and stuff. And then on the second hoop, I have pickling cucumbers that we're gonna use for pickles and relish. Now, last year we grew mostly pickling cucumbers, and I believe we grew 2 plants of the slicing cucumbers. However, they cross-pollinated and all of them tasted like pickling cucumbers. Last year I made so many pickles with my pickling cucumbers, and I only made about 2 or 3 jars of relish. I used the relish way faster than I ever thought I would. So this year I do plan on making way more relish than I did last year. Now, the next thing I grew is okra, and that's something I'm doing differently. As you can tell, a lot of things that we're doing this year are much different than last year. Last year I grew 1 okra plant, and honestly we didn't eat any of it because by the time that we had enough okra saved up from the 1 okra plant, the other ones that we had picked earlier in the week were woody. So we unfortunately didn't get to eat any of our okra last year. So I planted 6 okra plants this year in hopes that we'll be able to save some of that harvest. As y'all already saw in our potato video, we did already harvest all of our potatoes, which we do plan on planting more. But in that spot, I have a whole bunch of green beans in the greenhouse getting ready to sprout. I planted 96 seed cells, so I'm really hoping for over 100 green bean plants. Again, something that I did differently this year from last year. So with the potatoes that we harvested, we are hoping to put green beans in their place and then plant more potatoes come fall for our fall garden. We did read that green beans actually can add nitrate back into the soil where the potatoes are taking it out. So we're really hoping that that helps with having a good potato harvest come fall. Behind where we had the potatoes, here we have growing zucchini. I actually planted 12 zucchini plants, and I thought that that was overshooting. I honestly thought that they would crowd each other out, but they are all doing fantastic, and we are already getting so much zucchini from our zucchini plants. We've already eaten quite a few zucchinis from our garden already. After doing some research, I did find that you can preserve your zucchini harvest, so I'm really hoping that we're able to do that this year. What I was reading is you bring the zucchini in, you set it in a cool, dark place, and you let the zucchinis cure just like you would with your potatoes. You don't wash them, you don't do anything, you just let them dry and cure. Now, on the other side of our garden bed, over here we have strawberry plants. We did buy 1 of them from the store, but the rest all came from that 1 strawberry plant plus the ones we've gotten from our neighbor. Our neighbor has given us 3 strawberry plants this year. We also have so many peppers growing. I really had a goal to grow a lot of peppers this year. Also, with my sourdough bread, I do like to make the jalapeno cheddar loaves, and I just like to have the jalapenos straight from our garden. And to be honest, I forgot to label them, so I'm sure all of y'all know what I'm talking about when I say that I didn't get to label all of them. And so I have no idea which ones are which. I have no idea if they're all bell pepper or all jalapeno. I even planted some habanero this year to make our hot sauce. So I'm hoping at least some of them are some of each. So once I put them in the garden bed, they kind of stopped growing altogether. So I planted them anyways in the garden bed in hopes that they would take off, and as you can see, they have completely taken off and they are huge now. Now, beside the peppers, we are growing wheat. We're growing a hard red wheat and a soft white wheat. We aren't growing too much. We actually wanted to do another bed in our yard somewhere of just wheat, but we just didn't get to it in time. So we ended up trying to fit as much as we could into our garden space. So we know it won't be a big harvest, but it will teach us how to grow our own wheat, and it will also teach us how to clean our own wheat and thrush. So we're super excited about that, and it looks great, besides the cats trampling all over it. Behind the wheat, we're actually growing lettuce. Since it is getting warm here, the lettuce is actually starting to bolt, so I'm gonna let it and save the seeds for next year's harvest. Once the lettuce does bolt, I do plan on pulling it all up and putting the green beans in that spot too. Behind the lettuce, I have pinto beans growing, and in between the pinto beans, I have radishes. Where the pinto beans are growing now, we actually had our garlic growing. We pulled our garlic up a little bit early because it was starting to do what's called witch's broom, which is where it sprouts again in the ground. And so your leaves go from having a couple leaves to it looking like the end of a witch's broom. But where the garlic was growing, we actually are growing pinto seeds now. Funny story is my son has a sensory box that we fill with sand for him, and I had actually put some pinto beans in it as well. And over that night, it had rained, and it kept raining all day the next day. So besides getting out here to feed animals or anything, I didn't really look at the garden or do anything like that. So I just left the water in his sensory bin, and all of the beans, as you can imagine, sprouted. So I have a rule around here that if it wants to grow, I'm gonna let it grow. So all of those sprouts have now made it into the garden and are growing perfectly. Our radishes, yes, they're very overcrowded. To be honest, all I did was sprinkle seeds in and hope that they grew, and all of them grew. Radishes is one of my favorite things to grow on the homestead because they grow so fast. And if you're someone like me who loves to watch your garden grow and you come out every single morning and check it, then radishes are something that you would love growing as well because they grow like crazy. My husband really loves radishes in his salads. I do not personally like radishes, but I grow them for him, and I also plan on pickling some. Behind the radishes and the pinto beans, we actually have more wheat growing, and again, that's just hard red and soft white wheat. Behind the wheat, we have 4 cabbages growing. We did have 5. My neighbor actually gave us some of those. It's a different neighbor than the one that gave us the strawberry plants. She gave us some cabbages, and they are growing like crazy, but they're getting torn up by bugs, as you can see. And I know that they're getting eaten by worms because the other day I picked some for our rabbits, and the leaf I picked was covered in worms, and I believe they're silkworms. Behind the cabbages, we have our cornfield, which is starting to do fantastic. At the beginning of the season, I ended up planting some corn, and some of it grew and some of it didn't. So the other day we had a great rainstorm, and as it was raining, I ran out here to plant the corn because I knew I wanted to plant more corn. I just hadn't gotten to it yet. So I wanted to take advantage of the rain and get out here and plant some more corn before it rained too hard, and I couldn't plant any corn at all. So as you can see, we have some corn that's pretty tall, and then we have some that is just sprouting. And that's it for our in-ground garden. Besides that, we have our beautiful wildflower patch, which is finally starting to flower, as you can see. A lot of y'all let me know that instead of sprinkling the seed packets directly into the soil, that I should sprout them and seed them in myself. So next year I will be doing that to grow some more seeds. But I walked around and scattered about 10 seed packets in the wildflower patch in hopes of growing a whole bunch of wildflowers, but we only have a couple growing. I did walk around and plant a whole bunch of sunflower seeds by hand in the wildflower patch, but I only see 3 growing as of right now. Now we're gonna move on to our pots and everything we're growing in pots. We have rosemary, which we use a lot. We love rosemary. We love to eat it with lamb, which, disclaimer, we do not grow any lamb as of right now on our homestead. Again, we live in a neighborhood, so we're unable to have any lamb where we live. So inside our pots, we have rosemary growing, and our rosemary is looking amazing. Again, that is not something I grew from seed, and honestly not something that I thought we would grow at all, but it was on a really good sale at one of the stores we went to one day, so we got 2 plants, and it's doing amazing. And we've actually used our rosemary a couple times already. We have used it for steak, we've used it for lamb, and it is delicious. We also have catnip, which y'all have seen many times. We love our catnip. Our catnip I grew for medicinal values, but also because the cats love it. It is taking off like crazy and becoming like a bush. We also have a big thing of lavender, which is also exploding like crazy and getting so big so fast. My friend actually gave me 3 babies from her lavender. She actually thought it was rosemary, and she knows I love rosemary, so she gave it to me, but turns out it's lavender. So along with the catnip, we also are growing lemon balm, again for medicinal values, to add to teas and stuff. We also have holy basil growing, which also has a lot of medicinal values. So we're growing that in order to have some medicinal values as well, but also just to grow basil. It's actually not doing too hot and it's going to seed already. I totally forgot all about our watermelon. So we ended up planting 6 watermelon plants this year. I didn't grow any from seeds. Actually, my friend had some that came up from last year, so she asked if I wanted them, and I decided that I would try my hand at growing watermelons. And that just about wraps up our 2026 garden tour. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope that you got some inspiration from anything that we grew, and we look forward to bringing you guys along with us as we begin to harvest our garden and for our canning and everything that we start to preserve this year. We hope you guys enjoy and have a great one.